laughing. I'm just like a little bit happier tonight. I am not like laughing at you. So okay. So yeah.
Sorry, sorry.
Okay. So the thing. Today we are going to give you the weirdest topic so far, and that's infernal pregnancies. So, Shara, thank you for coming with us on this show. And this is a really controversial topic to discuss. Uh, uh, it is a really controversial topic to discuss.
Exactly.
And tonight we will talk about this controversial topic. So, can you tell us first and foremost how this entire thing between you and Belial started and how you define it?
How to say? It start from last year. Actually, this time it's not the first time, but the second time. But I think it's better for me to start from the beginning, from the first time. It's just like a not after, but before before the way before the wedding with the Belial. I just like I do not know. Should I tell should I tell this or not? It's just because, well, for the sake of knowledge, it's better for me to tell this. Well, have
But I
well we and Belial of course have sex, yeah, and then
like it was more like I kind of need to specify that it wasn't like a physical thing. It was more like a spiritual overlapping kind of energies. Like
exactly. It's just like a bubble ring, the bubble ring in the ocean, just like a shit. And
I
then
get what
what's the results?
I had the thing with Lilith multiple times. So it looks like. So I gonna explain to the audience. I need to turn on the camera for a second to explain the audience. So let's say that you are like the bottom hand, like you are the bottom hand, and the spirit is like the upper hand, and then for a single moment you just feel two hands clapping together, and that's what essentially you feel during that entire sex with spirits thing. It's not physical, it's more like two energetic bubbles coming together. Because guys, I
Exactly.
kind of you to kind of understand that what Shara is describing is actually happening and that it's actually not uncommon. A lot of people have those similar experiences, but unfortunately, we were
It's a
not
feel.
until recently able to figure out what we are all experiencing because we all use different words. But essentially, what happens, guys, is let's say you have a practitioner and then you call an entity, right? And that
Yes.
entity,
Any spirit.
yeah,
Any spirit. Not just demons, just any spirit that we have intimate time together. It's just any spirit. Not just demons, maybe such as elf or fays and and any other spirit, just not limited to demon.
yeah, but on audience kind of understands. And so what happens is spirit uses your own sexual energy to merge with you, right?
Exactly.
At the moment of climax, you have like a merging point between you and a spirit where your aura completely fuses with the aura of the spirit, and there is no separation between the two.
No.
It's like
It's
an
just
orgasmic,
both become one.
yeah, and it's like an orgasmic feeling. It's like as if you are having an orgasm, but it's through your entire body. Like your entire body is like tingling and it's on fire. So it's not just a it's not limited to one part of the body, it's the entire body. And everything around the body is like
Not just physical body. It's just our astral body, spiritual body, it's just all of it entirely, not just one body.
Yeah. And the reason how I know this, so how I know this, by the way, is I did a similar thing with Lilith, and it also resulted in spirits being created. So essentially, what happened to you is pretty similar to what happened to me. But I'll kind of let you to talk a little bit more about what happened. I will not.
Excuse me?
I'll kind of let you more talk about what happened.
Oh, okay. It's just like well, back to the topic of my first time. My very first time before I know it is something happened. It's just like a me and Belial after have ritual. It's just like a suddenly my how to say my my not physical body. It's just my spiritual body. It's just like a we both have sex and we both merging together. And then in the morning, I just don't remember what happened actually. It's just my womb feels so what the hell? What's wrong? What's wrong last night? What happened? It's just my womb feels so there is something living being moving inside of my womb. It's not although it is spiritual pregnancy, but our my physical body can feel it, it's just like I was my spiritual sense all my spiritual senses is just like a activate immediately and I can feel everything such as dizziness and the feeling of weakness, morning sickness, feel some pressure, mood swing, just like a what happened and why I feel like a pregnant lady and then I feel again and then another night I have ritual with Belial while having the question what happened actually I'm pregnant and then you know what what Belial told me he says oh it's already in the beginning but not yet I'm just like huh what what's the
Yeah,
meaning by that
try to like give some context to the audience here. Uh, so essentially, when you are trying to create an entity with the spirit, so let's say you are working with Belial, and Belial is trying to create an entity with you, right? And he is trying
exactly
to use you as a vehicle for that entity. So essentially, what he does is he puts into you like a small amount of his energy, and it remains in your womb. And then every
exactly
single time you have an interaction with him of any form, of any sort, a little bit of your energy and of his energy is directed into that point. And that's called an incubation period. And over time, that little point in you kind of grows until it takes shape of full spirit, of full entity. And when the time comes, you simply let it out. You'll let it forward and it kind of lives independently. Uh, when you are a guy, it's a little bit different because you are not essentially feeling it in your body. You are giving life force to it. So I would instruct it to call entity, right? And then
yep
feed with life force, either through blood or through my astral energies or through other means. To let that female entity leech on me, literally, and use my own life force as a nutrient to what I perceived to be within that entity. And then when the time came, the time was, I think, toward 27 days of continuous like feeding. After the end of the day 27, the female entity released the being out of itself and it kind of became an independent spirit.
So true.
which
So true.
and in turn was physically visible, observable, and summonable in rituals after. So we had like a methodology to verify that the being is actually created and it's actually there. So to keep things simple here, I am trying to contextualize to the audience what Shara said. So what Shara essentially said is around year and 9 months ago, around 2 years ago, she started working heavily with Belial, and Belial started cultivating or incubating an entity within her. And every single interaction she has with Belial since that point is feeding that entity inside of her, and she can like feel the movement of it.
Oh, feels like there is Taekwondo Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee inside of it. You know, it's just like a poop, 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 poop,
Yeah.
poop,
But
poop,
like
poop,
what
poop.
I like what I like suggest to you really is because it's not a process. Look, like I had one sheikh who like did this crazy stuff, but she didn't did it with any entity. She did it with actual physical human being, right? So somebody did it to her astrally, and he was a human being, and he was like cultivating that inside of her. And my first suggestion was like either speed up the process or remove that thing altogether. And obviously, she blocked me after because my suggestion was a little bit too brutal. But what I suggest for you is you should like, because this is also the first time we talk about this, and I purposefully let it to be the first time here on camera because I wanted this to be a spicy interview. Uh, Essentially, what I would suggest is you call Belial up and you give him three choices. Because I can kind of see that this is like a draining situation for you. Like it's a mentally difficult to have something moving inside of your body every time you do a ritual. And it's like demanding. It's extremely demanding and it kind of extremely makes you freak out. So I would like tell Belial to like explain to you what you have to do in order for this to be released, and then you start working with an entity outside of you. You know, you get it out of your body and you work with it as you would work with any other entity.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing, because I kind of created a similar thing, it doesn't matter how much time you work with it to create it. What matters is how much energy it gets. Okay.
Exactly.
So more energy you give it, the quicker it will come out, right?
Exactly.
So
It's
if you want this to end as quickly as possible, you need to give to that being through Belial's guidance extreme amounts of energy.
yeah, so true because if our energy is low while having pregnancy, it will be very bad and make us get sick, such as maybe can get fever, can get flu. It's just way more heavier, something like that. That's why it's not good idea to have our energy very low when having pregnancy with the with the spirit whatsoever spirit like that.
Yeah, but I'm kind of trying to explain to the guys what you are kind of trying to explain. So essentially, when you are creating a spirit in such a way, what kind of happens is incubation period. So spirit is somewhere between existing and non-existing, and you need to give it enough energy to exist. So this is like a pretty difficult topic for majority of people to grasp, and I probably
Yep.
crazy. I probably sound crazy, but you get what I'm saying because you can like literally feel that thing growing as energy builds up. And my advice would be like just call Belial and ask him what he needs to do for you to give enough energy for this to end. Because essentially, you never talked to somebody who kind of participated in the same process, at least not publicly.
No.
And the thing about this process is it's kind of extremely draining, difficult, and it needs to be ended quickly. Because while it lasts, your soul is kind of not in a normal state. So you are like in a trance a lot of the time, and it's kind of difficult to navigate.
Yep. It's
like,
quite hard, very hard. Every time I have pregnancy, that's why I told you this is my second pregnancy with Belial. It's so heavy. It's just like my mind and my thought is just like somewhere else. I do not know where is it, but it's just somewhere else. While having my body is in this physical realm, and meanwhile I can feel the baby inside moving, kicking, boxing, kung fuing inside. Just so difficult, of course. Very, very difficult.
yeah, I get what you are saying. It seems to be pretty common so far among people among the people I experience, that they kind of have those kinds of phenomena, spiritual pregnancies and shit. Out of the 4 serious witches I experienced, 3 of them had some form of spiritual pregnancy or spiritual pregnancy associated phenomena with them. And it's actually a pretty common thing. So let me explain. You work with an entity, then entity puts inside your body a little bit of spiritual energy. As you work with that entity, spiritual energy builds up and creates independent spirit, which you then give birth to when it's nurtured enough. And so this is kind of happening to you for a second time. But can you like describe, because you are a first unique opportunity for me to interview somebody outside of myself who actually managed to pull this off. How the ending of it looked for you, the ending of the first time when you saw that being for the first time, it looked.
The ending. Do you mean the appearance of my first child?
Yes.
Okay. It's almost like a human, but different humanoid like look. It's just like a pointy ears a bit, and then grayish grayish blue skin. It's not a typical demon look. It's just, how to say, almost like a fair looking, but just different. It's just like the combination between fair and demon look.
Yeah, but I actually attempted this twice, and I succeeded only one time. And okay, actually, let me recollect. No, I did it thrice and succeeded twice. Okay, so I have 2. But the first one was like so ugly that I never summoned it again.
But yeah, exactly. It's just like the after have the baby to be exist independently. They're just like some of them can become minion, or can become as familiars, can become as it's just anything. Just can say like the the minion for us, or just how to say for the familiars, something like that. It's
Yeah,
just
but like think of it this way, right?
mhm,
So let's say you have a mother and a father, and you know what you're gonna do. It depends on your mother and your father, but it also depends on you. You know, so they
exactly.
are kind of free to make whatever they want out of themselves. We kind of already gave them enough energy to exist. It's kind of difficult for us to raise them because we are in a human bodies and they are like spirits, so we cannot see them most of the time. You know, when you
That's it.
create such
Yep.
an entity, you cannot see it, and therefore, because you cannot see it, you cannot raise it or have some form of intimate relationship with it most of the time. So you are prevented from doing so because you can't. But
Yep. Mhm. So
essentially,
sad.
but essentially, I figured out that majority of serious witches and sorcerers and practitioners are requested to do this by their entities. If
Yeah.
these are like non-angelic in nature, because for whatever reason, those other spirits, demons, fairies, whatever, they need our genetics to improve their own. And so they will take the pieces of our spirits, the pieces of our souls, and incorporate it into their own race in order to have that hybrid race,
Mhm.
which will be like more capable of interacting with this plane. But what I am referring to is not necessarily physical people. It's more like, uh, so I noticed that like whatever I created was more capable of physically manifesting than other spirits I summon, which means that those hybrids we create. So let's say you create a hybrid with Belial, right?
Yep.
You create a hybrid. That hybrid spirit entity is more capable of manifesting itself into this reality than Belial is, with less energy, right? So your
Yep.
hybrid needs less energy to do the same action than what Belial requires. Belial obviously can do more. He can do much more than the entity you created. But the entity you created is much more accustomed to this plane of reality because it originates from you, right?
Yep.
You get the point.
Exactly.
So they kind of need the race of those hybrids to serve in between us humans and them gods. Whatever we create is somewhere in between. It's a middle ground. It's a middle being, right?
It's just like the bridge between the deity and to human parents, something like that. It's just like to reconnect to reconnect more closely,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. And essentially, this is something which was requested to me by multiple entities.
Mm.
It is something which is also requested from multiple witches and to multiple witches by multiple entities, and which is something which I know multiple practitioners, both male and female, did. However, nobody talks about this. The reason why I know you are legit is because I kind of experienced pretty similar phenomena, but it's challenging to speak about this in a way that people will understand. So
Exactly,
I'm kind
exactly.
of
Because with the community is such a judgmental, such a nasty talking about oh, demon is doesn't want to do like that with us. The thing is, it happens. It's just there is not much people willing to say it because they're afraid that they will get mocked, get death threat by the occultists. Often like that. Often up to the point I found the YouTube channel. She delete the demonic pregnancy. She deleted because of the threat and the mocking by the audience. That's why I'm willing to talk with you about this demonic pregnancy with you to to expose it more openly. That's why.
Yeah, but I kind of because like you have like a interesting way of speaking English, and so I always make sure that people get what's said. So that's the reason why I repeat after you. But I really like the fact that you are willing to speak publicly about these topics because majority of people are not. Uh, and it's kind of super cute that you are speaking about this. It's super brave of you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, and Belial is probably too. Uh, but essentially, guys, I need to say this once again. So, what Shara is trying to tell you for half of an hour together with me is this, right? So sometimes the spirits will request you to create a new spirit for them, and they will do it by putting, if you are a female, small amount of their own spiritual energy into your body, and then with every ritual you perform with that spirit, the energy in your body will grow until the point in which you give birth to that independent spirit. And that's something which happens to a lot of people. Uh, what comes into existence from this is like a mixture between a human soul and a spirit who requested for this to happen. So, first, majority of times, it's requested by the spirit, right? And then it's the human who does most of the heavy lifting. Yeah. In my case, the heavy lifting was pretty heavy.
Really heavy, trust me.
Really,
It's
really
really
lifting.
heavy to carry the energy. Really heavy. It's just like a whoa, heavy.
Yeah.
What kind of energy is this?
But what I kind of noticed from this entire thing is that once you do this, spirits are really indebted to you as an individual. So once you do this, they will not treat you anymore like just a fellow motherfucking human conjuring us for so and so. You will really be treated differently. Uh, and this will usually be requested at the end of some form of a path working with them. Uh, so this will be more like a crown jewel of your work, like when you work with them for a really long time and then they offer you this.
It's just like we human in this plane. It's just like get to know each other after a long time, and then have become as a lover for some period of time, and then get married, and then have children together. It's just the same. Just the same with us with human. It's it's nothing different. It's just yeah, the different is the energy. That's all. There's nothing different at all.
So yeah, like I am trying for the audience for like this to be not as crazy as it sounds. I am like trying to explain this to
Oh,
people. And
although
I
it sounds crazy.
know that majority of like people will not get what I said. I would seem as equally crazy as you do, but doesn't kind of matter, guys. We did all we could. We did all we could. Okay, this is not easy to explain. Like I am really doing my best. And to be honest, guys, this is like not a joke, but we are really trying to explain something which we cannot explain. And we
Really
are
how to
laughing. We are really laughing because we don't have any means to explain what the fuck we are talking about, okay? So we don't have any other options than to laugh, right? And please, don't be judgmental on us, okay? Okay. Don't be judgmental on us because we have no idea how to explain what the fuck happened. So I will kind of be pretty clear of what happened with me, right?
Yeah.
So I worked with Lilith from 2018, and this happens 2021, which is last year, right?
Yeah.
And she requests me to create an entity with her. And I was requested to give it energy certain number of times for a certain number of days. And at
Mhm.
the end of the process, an independent being came from Lilith. And I was given the name, I was given the seal, I was given the chant. It was actually the entity, right?
Yep.
So I will try to explain to the audience how to do this. It doesn't matter which gender you are, male or female, it doesn't matter. You need to call one of the entities you are really close with. It cannot be with anyone. And
Yep.
you
Not
request
just be
of them,
random,
yeah,
not just
you,
be random
you
spirit
request
is
of them,
dead. Is dead.
to like make a spiritual child with you, right?
Yep.
Then they will
Spirit.
merge with you energetically. And in that moment of like spiritual union, of ecstasy, of merging, they will start creating that entity, that independent entity. And then you will have to feed that non-created entity, which doesn't exist yet, for a certain number of days, certain number of times, and it will take the great amount of life force energy from you, and then you will essentially weakness the creation of that entity from your life force, from you.
Yeah, that which explains a lot why I always feel so weak. Although I sleep for a long time, I eat a lot, I have I have rest quite a lot, but still feel so heavy, feel so tired, feel so weak. It's just unexplainable weakness because of pregnancy. Very weak. That's why I must take care of the of our energy when it comes about when having spiritual pregnancy, because yeah, it consumes a lot of energy. It's consume a lot, and plus carry the huge energy from the energy of Belial is not it to say very the triple heavy and just like a suffocating heaviness. Feel the pressure around of my body from my head to my toes when having pregnancy. Puke every single morning. I just like a, ah.
Yeah, but it's pretty like difficult to deal
Very,
with it,
very
especially
difficult.
yeah. But for the man, it's different. So you are not feeling it in your body, but you have to feed it. And imagine if somebody like took 1/3 of your energy every day and just leached it out. Okay, so that's what you have to do for like considerable period of time, and it really fucks you over. Uh, it really fucks you over.
Okay.
Difficult to explain, but
Very difficult, but I can understand that.
yeah, it's really difficult to explain. But for people to accept that this is real, at least for spiritual people, they also need to accept that the spirits are real. Okay, and they
Very
also
real.
accept that the spirits are not the product of our own psyches. And then once you understand that the spirits are not the product of our own psyches, then you can essentially deduce that what we are saying is real. Okay, so we are not saying that she physically had sex with Belial and produced a physical baby. That's not what she is saying.
No,
What
no, no,
is
no. Wrong.
that she spiritually merged with Belial, and then she started the process of really advanced servitor or spirit creation, in which she used her own energy as a sacrifice together with Belial to create an independent spiritual entity with its own consciousness, agenda, and free will. And that she is doing this on behalf of Belial now for a second time. She already did it once, and it was really difficult, and now it's equally difficult for her. So what I am trying to explain to you guys is that this is not something crazy, this is not something outside of the ordinary, this is actually just advanced form of servitor creation, what she's doing. And this is essentially pretty common, much more common than what you would think.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's already exists a very long time ago. So and some within the ancient practice around Asia, some of them marry with spirit for exchange of something like wealth, fame, or power for human, and then and then suddenly, yeah, have sex with spirit, and then end up with having children together out of our of energy merging. It's just pretty common. It's just very less people to mention it. Very less. It's
Yeah,
just pretty common.
yeah, yeah. And so, what I also wanted to point, guys, is that there are three things you need to be aware of. Like you know this. So this is not for you, Shara. This is like for the people watching. Because I know that after we publish this video, what will happen is you will probably have some crazy people attempting this immediately
Oh,
without any preparation. It will
exactly.
definitely, and that's why we didn't wanted to like publish it, because we didn't wanted not really intelligent people attempting this. But essentially there are three precautions you need to do before this. So first, you need to be really careful with which spirits you are doing this. It needs to be a spirit you trust, and it needs to be a spirit you work with for a long time.
Because it
Second
because it
is,
can be happen. It is astro as how to say as astro leeches as astro pretender that pretend to be the deity that we serve. It can be dangerous if not be careful when it comes about to do that with the deity that we want to have together or spirit. It can be dangerous. Yep, continue.
so yeah, you kind of need to clean your space, as Shara said, in order to don't allow the imposter spirits.
Yep.
So you need to be advanced at evoking, you need to be advanced at banishing, and you need to be advanced at essentially protecting yourself in order to attempt this. So first, you need to start doing this with the spirit you really trust. Second, you need to essentially clean the area so no malignant entities can intervene with the process. And third, you need to raise a really big barrier, a really big shield around you of energy, so nothing like can leech on. And only when you learn those three things, you can like start doing this thing.
Yep, because it can be happen also if there is no protection around us as a female who carry the spirit baby with the spirit that have to have child together. It can be happen like I just can say in human words as miscarriage or being accidentally aborted by another spirit. It can be happen also if not being careful.
Okay. So I get you. I get you. So what she is saying, guys, is she is saying that if you don't raise a big enough shield, what can happen is essentially your spiritual creature you are trying to create will be attacked and it will not have enough energy to sustain, and so it will drop. It will it will be killed off. And that
Exactly.
yeah. So I this sounds crazy, but from the male perspective, I experienced one failed experiment. I told you
Ouch.
I had like three successes and then one failure. And I know how failure looks like. To me, it was pretty humiliating. All of that life force energy going away into nothing. But if you
Uh,
don't have enough energy uh, quickly enough, it can really be cut. So, yeah, essentially, when you are creating spirits in this manner, what I suggest, because people will attempt this, like we can give at
yep.
least the amount of instructions as possible, but people will still do this. Once you feel that the things are growing, and once you feel that the things are happening, if you are a female, or if you feel that you are more additionally leached off by your succubus if you are a male, you need to start asking for the seal or the sigil of that being which is still being created. And they will give you something like a seal or a sigil. And then you need to give offerings to it and to sacrifice to it and to work with that sigil until the spirit is actually created. And then once the spirit is created, once the spirit comes out, then you are free to essentially go. It's over. But having that sigil of the entity which is still being created and feeding that sigil is really helpful. And also it prevents you from feeling and feeding anything else accidentally.
Hmm. Okay.
So, do you have anything else to talk about? Because we kind of finished the main topic for tonight.
Mm. Well, for me, no. It's just a matter of just be when it comes about spiritual pregnancy. It's just better be careful because it can consume a lot of energy. Although we take care of ourselves, such as eat well, sleep enough sleep, it can be such as it's not enough. It's just it's better to take care of ourselves very in extra efforts. It's because yeah, it can be very dangerous if not taking care of ourselves fully. Because yeah, wait, because when have when have spirit baby together, it's just how to say it can be said anything happen, just better be careful
Okay,
whether just better be careful.
so we really invested the best we could into this interview to explain as much as we could to the audience what's happening here. I will also film a separate video on the process just to make sure that I did the best I could.
Yeah, because
Also,
it's very hard to to explain it. It's very hard because actually in the end it's not it's not different between human and spirit when it comes about pregnancy. It's not different at all. It's just different plane of existence, just different, but still the same, like spirit, like us human to have children, to have sex, just nothing different at all. It's just normal things among spiritual communities. It's just, yeah, it's very rare to hear it. It's very rare.
okay, so I hope you guys that we managed at least to provide a really entertaining show for you tonight. If we didn't clear, which to many of you we definitely were not clear, but we tried
Oh,
as much as we could.
it's hard to explain how to explain this. I also just like what how to explain this. That's why I need to write it in this book. But still, I do not know whether the audience can grasp it or not. It's because it is hard to explain. It's for some people it will be, it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like a Da Vinci novel book, like the commenter, the commenter of my interview with the Joseph. He says that too much reading Da Vinci Code, but the thing is, it's already happened since thousand years ago. That's it. It's
Yeah,
just need to be aware.
in between species, it kind of happened in a sense. But talk to you soon, guys. We will definitely discuss similar topics after and talk you guys all. I really enjoy you followed this show through the end, and we will definitely provide more similar content soon. Yeah.
Much more crazier. I hope so.